Well, this shouldn't feel this hard. And if real estate feels exhausting, you're working nonstop, you're chasing clients, you're trying to pitch yourself all the time, and it's just feel like this constant chasing to get new clients. It's not because you're bad, and it's not because you're working too little, and it's not like you're not chasing enough. The hard truth is really because you haven't spent enough time with your clients yet. And really, like, the more time you spend with them, the easier everything gets. So this is the closest thing to a cheat code, and this is really what we're going to talk about today. And first off, if you're thinking, who is this guy and why should you listen to me? And just me being brutally honest here, I've spent the last 2 years absolutely obsessing over how you as a real estate agent can get more warm leads in your life, and really just make sure that your job, that is a really, really tough one as it is, just gets a lot easier. And I've been a real estate agent myself for almost 5 years, so I know the deal. And I think the best perk for you watching this video is that you can save yourself years and hundreds of hours and a lot of money just by watching this video instead of trying to figure it out on your own. All right, so let's get started. And what this is really all about is that how you can get more warm leads in your life. And the key way we're going to get this is really by using what is called the 7-11 rule. And that stands for that your potential clients, they have to spend 7 hours with you and they have to see you 11 times. And what actually happens is that if they see you 11 times, they start to notice you, or they have noticed you, rather say, because if they watch one reel that you post on Instagram, or they watch one video of yours on YouTube, that is not really enough for them to really notice you. And the second part of the game in the 7-11 rule that you really want to make sure that it happens for you is that on top of seeing you 11 times, they have to spend 7 hours with you. Because if that really happens, they now moving forward trust you. So if you combine these two, the likelihood of your potential clients, picking you when they're in need for your services is through the roof. So this is the smartest thing I've seen in a long time, and that's why I'm sitting and making this video, because I just want to give you as many golden nuggets as I can. So what's the most leveraged way that you can do this? And it's really by posting free content. And that's really the way, and from everything I've been observing, that's the smartest way to get yourself, one step closer to your potential clients spending 7 hours with you. And the funny part as well is why the game really feels this hard is because the clients they barely know you or even know that you exist. And every conversation that you have, because you aren't operating in this way, you are not, every single day trying to make your clients, go through the 7-11 method. So that's why every conversation starts at zero, and you're having this, way of working where the dialogue and the relationship with the clients that you're having, it's all about pitching instead of presenting. So I think this is it hit me so hard as well. And I know that, for the most people watching this right now, it really might resonate a lot with you as well. And as I said, the most simple reason to why, everything feels so hard is because your potential clients haven't spent enough time with you. And we solve this, as I said, by using the 7-11 rule. And as I said before, they need to spend 7 hours with you and they need to see you 11 times. So some reasons to why this is the case is because if you're going to compare your potential clients spending 30 minutes with you or even up to an hour, you compare that to them spending 7 hours with you, that is a much better place to be at when they have spent 7 hours with you, comparing to only 30 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe the first initial call, when you call them up after you get the lead on your email, for example. And I think the most important thing why this is such a game changer is because it's giving you such an edge. And the big part as well is like, if you really think about it, like if someone would spend 7 hours with someone, either through the content or, you know, one-on-one in real life, like you would not spend 7 hours with a person if you don't like them, or if you don't find, you know, the things that they share valuable. So I think this is like the biggest key is like, you know, a lot of people is going to, jump off the horse on the road to spending 7 hours with you, and that is okay. That's just the natural selection and the natural process of, you know, getting people towards the 7 hours. But those who have spent 7 hours with you, they're really, really good leads, if we put it that way. So now you might be thinking, okay, well, like, you know, how do we make this happen? And really, there are different ways of getting here. It's just a matter of like how fast you want to get there. So that's why I think it's super simple for me to give you, 3 examples of the different ways you can do this. And first and foremost, like how long it will take you for, you know, getting a potential client to spend 7 hours with you. So let's say, you know, we really take, you know, example number 1 here. And that is, you know, you make, you know, 1 post plus 2 stories a week. So to make things very simple here, we're going to, you know, give the examples of using Instagram only. That's the only platform, at least for the, you know, the first and the second example. And I wanted to make things as simple as possible here. We could make it super advanced, but just like take this as a reality. And let's say that the first post that you make is just a picture of you, you know, a bunch of text. And let's say that on average, it takes the people that follow you, your potential clients, it takes them 30 seconds to consume that one post. And then say that you post 2 stories a week, and each of those are 15 seconds. So what does that mean? Now you have one post that is 30 seconds, and then you have 2 stories that also adds up to 30 seconds. And just to make things very, very simple here, let's say that your potential clients on average watches half of the things you can produce. So that leads really to you making sure that your potential clients spend 30 seconds with you every single week. Because you have, 60 seconds and they consume half of that on average, that leads to 30 seconds per week. And you have 52 weeks in a year. I wanted to make things simple and, calculate on you posting every single week. That leads to your potential clients getting 26 minutes with you, per year. And if you now wanna, the magic question, if you are operating in this kind of way, like how long would it take for your potential clients to spend 7 hours with you? And as you can see, this is absolutely nuts. And I think that a lot of people watching this right now might get this really, really big relief, because, when I stumble upon this and, I have, had ups and downs in my journey as well of being a real estate agent. But when I really understood this, and it just really changed the way I look at the game of being a real estate agent. Because if you're not, let's say that you are option number 1 and you feel like you're really struggling, well, is it crazy that you're struggling because the strategy you're currently using, it takes your potential clients 16 years to spend 7 hours with you? So no doubt that, maybe the majority of the leads that you're getting are cold ones, because they haven't spent enough time with you. And I guess that a lot of people watching this right now, you're probably, example number 1. I've been that myself for a long period of time in my, beginning of my career. And then I want to jump to, example number 2. And that is really, all about, stepping up the game. Now we're really making, 3 reels per week. We're making 7 stories per week. So as you can see now, the time that the potential client of yours are spending with you is a lot higher, so it's much better. So now you have, 60 seconds times 3, because I just said like, well, let's say for a simple equation here, every single reel that you put out on Instagram, those are 90 seconds each. So now when we have that, you have 7 stories as well. And if every story is 15 seconds times 7, you have 105 seconds. So what that really means is that if we do the same equation as we did before, we take, add up all the time that the reels take and all the stories take, then you have 187 seconds per week that your potential clients are spending with you on average. Because as I said before, you have to cut that time in half, because on this example, we are assuming that the average potential client that are following you are watching half the time of the thing that you post. So what happens if you take 187 seconds on average, roughly, times 52? That leads to your potential clients having 162 minutes with you per year. So example 2 is much better than example number 1, as you can see. And the question remains, how long will it take for your potential clients to spend 7 hours with you? And as you can see, it's still 2.6 years, roughly. So that is still a lot of time. It's not 16 years as example number 1. That is a long time, and the likelihood of you being a real estate agent for 16 years is kind of low. So you want to speed up the process. So that's why option number 2 or example number 2 is much better. But I want to show you example number 3, which is, in my eyes, the way you should approach this, and really the structure and the actionables you should have for yourself each week. In simple terms, this is what I think you should be doing each week. So now we're not only using Instagram as before, we are now using YouTube as well. So we're using short form platform and a long form platform. And let's assume that we are doing these things each week. So first off, we're making 7 reels on Instagram. We're putting out 7 stories on Instagram, but we're now, making sure that we're adding 1 long video as well. And that is on YouTube. What does that lead us to? So we have, we have the 90 seconds, because that's how long 1 reel on Instagram is in this example. And then we take that times 7, and then you have, as before, you have 15 seconds, for each story that you put out, and then you have, 7 times 7 as well. But the biggest key difference here, as you can see, is that we are now, adding 10 minutes. Because in this example, the long video that you put out on YouTube are 10 minutes. So what does that really leads us to? Well, you get now, if you cut this in half, because on average, your potential clients might be watching half of the things you put out. That leads us to 667.5 seconds per week. So if you compare, you had before 187 seconds, and even before that, you had 30 seconds. So as you can see, the time is much higher. And just do the equation. So let's say that you take that 667.5 seconds per week times 52. That leads to 578.5 minutes per year. So as you can see, this is a lot of time. And if you're a smart person, and if you have already watched, the things below, you really see that this adds up to, a much faster time frame. So as you can see here, if we do things in this way, it will take you 7 months to get your potential clients to spend 7 hours with you. So this is where the magic really are starting to happening. You go from, first of all, you have 16 years Like that's why, you know, so many agents are struggling out there, because they're not winning, because they are not, you know, using every single day to make their potential clients spend, you know, 7 hours with them as fast as possible. So 16 years, that is, you know, really a place of struggling. And, you know, option 2, you know, 2.6 years, that is still a lot of time. Like, and now option 3, it would take you 7 months. Like, that is very reasonable. So this is probably like the magic you're looking for, and it's a really smart way of going about this. So I would say, like, to make things simple, that's, you know, the way you go about to get the 7 hours in the 7-11 rule. And now you want to know, okay, well, you know, how do I get the 11 times? You want your potential clients to see you 11 times. And I would say this one is a much easier one. Just like post consistently every week. Make sure that you post valuable things for the people you want to target. And the way you should go about this is that every single week, as I said, you know, your job is to make sure that you move your potential clients one step closer to that 7-hour mark. That's really the game we're playing here. And as you can see, if the different examples, like your edge is really long form content. Because if you're only relying on short form and you're killing it in the way you think about it, as you could see in example number 2, it will take you like 2.6 years. And if you have a competitor of yours that use long form as well, like it takes them 7 months. So they're really, really, you know, winning in my eyes. And if we take it, you know, what's the simple equation really here? It's really like, you know, you put out free content, you do that consistently, and you add time, then you get warm leads. So that's really the equation here. Of course, I could be talking about a million other things, but to make things very, very simple here, like this is a very smart way to go about this. I'm really applying the 7-11 rule myself in my life. As you can see, I've been very consistent with putting out videos here on YouTube, doing it for a little bit over a year, almost every single week. So that's really, in my eyes, a very smart way that you can get more warm leads in your life and start winning. So now make sure to watch this video so you don't forget the most powerful tool that you can use in your life to convert warm leads for yourself.